Hello, everyone. This is Beastly EO, and on today's episode, I thought it'd be fun to do my top 10 superhero slash comic book movies. Now, this excludes the MCU. The reason why I did that was because all 10 of them, or pretty much most of the 10, would have been from the MCU. And I feel like they're so separate from the rest of the comic book genre that I would do a video later on about my top videos, ranking all the movies later. So in this, we're going to be talking about, like I said, live action comic book movies. Um, I'll do an animation one another time. Um, so this was a little difficult for me in the sense of I was able to come up with a bunch of them, but just there were still so many to choose from, and there were some that were there were others that were just really bad. So definitely got some more videos for later. So let's move on right on to the countdown. So number 10 on this list is Wonder Woman. Um, the reason why she's low on this list is not so the movie itself is great in my opinion. I enjoyed it. Um, I definitely I definitely enjoyed it. I also thought it was well done story wise. One of the big things that did bother me though was the fact that the CGI of Ares, the god of war, just bothered the heck out of me. It just that ruined a lot of the movie for me, in my personal opinion. Um, I'm sorry if you. It's not that I. Don't get me wrong. Wonder Woman is obviously still a good movie. That's why she's in the top 10. But the reason why she's at the bottom of this list is because of the fact that CGI of Ares just bothered the heck out of me. That's all I remember. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was not as bad as Doomsday in Batman versus Superman, but it was pretty bad. All right, that was number 10. Let's move on to number 9. We're staying in the DC universe, and we're going with the Suicide Squad. Not the newest one, granted, because it's not out yet. Um, so the original Suicide Squad, I enjoyed it so much. Um, it had some great cast of characters. It had it had big names in it. Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Viola Davis. I mean, it was a very good cast. Um, the reason why it's low on this list is because even though it pretty much went with the comic book, story wise in general just wasn't all that interesting compared to the others on this list. That's why it's low on this list, but I still very much enjoyed the movie. Um, there was very few things I didn't like. Um, El Diablo, the only thing I didn't like about him was the fact that he had this big, huge fire form that he didn't have in the comics, but that's like minuscule stuff. Um, that being said, moving on to number 8. Number 8, like I said, we're going to be staying in the DC universe apparently, and we're going with Aquaman. Aquaman was a big hit, was a big success. Um, I enjoyed it personally. It was well done. It made, in my opinion, Aquaman awesome. In the comic books, Aquaman for me was not my favorite character. He was kind of one dimensional for me. It was kind of boring. Jason Momoa definitely brought a cool factor to it in general, made Aquaman just seem badass. Um, but also, he made him, in my personal opinion, much more relatable, which was not easily done based on the comic books themselves. Um, so definitely Aquaman deserved to be on this list. So we're moving right on to number 7. Number 7 on this list is Deadpool 2. Um, Deadpool 2 was a good movie. They dealt with time travel a little bit. They also tried to compete with Logan a little bit, even though it was after, but still trying to like one up the sequel. But they did such a good job. So they added several characters. They had the little X Factor. Spoiler alert: most of them were dead. Um, they they did such a good job with it, but it just and this is a spoiler alert. I mean, this is a little wink to later on in the countdown. But for this particular one, it wasn't as good as the original. And I know you're thinking, well, most sequels aren't better than the original, and you're right. But still, a great movie overall. I enjoyed it. It was very rated R. It was very meta. Everything you could ask for Deadpool. I think the reason why it just didn't live up to the hype of the first one is because the first one was so unexpected. The first one, we didn't know what we were going to get. For the second one, we had an idea, and because of that, expectations um, were easily met. And I think because of that, they didn't go above, which is why it's number 7 on this list. But still, phenomenal movie. Cable, awesome. Juggernaut, surprisingly amazing. Like characters I was not expecting to be good. So number 6 on this list is the original Spider-Man with Toby Mcguire. I enjoyed that movie so much. It really gave Spider-Man to me um, enjoy. I mean, not that I didn't enjoy it. I mean, we had the cartoon in the '90s that I loved. They also had it in the '70s apparently, but I didn't ever watch that one until Disney Plus. But the just Spider-Man, then Spider-Man Unlimited, then the Ultimate Spider-Man, I mean, all these shows really kind of buffed up Spider-Man. And then they made the movie with Tobey Maguire, and it was so good. One complaint I guess I would have is the fact that Tobey Maguire was just older than Peter Parker should be, but that's just minuscule stuff. Just overall, excellent movie. They did the Spider Sense excellent. Again, one of the other things that was just slightly missing the mark in this was that he had like these glands that shot out the web instead of web shooters. But overall, if that's the only thing, and then William Dafoe as Norman Osborn, phenomenal casting. I mean, just excellently executed. Personally, one of my favorites. Also, why it's on this list. So we're going to be moving right on to the top 5. We're actually going back to the DC universe, and we're going with the Man of Steel. Now, the Man of Steel for me was a big just hit in the chest for me. I was not, and I'm still not, a huge Superman fan. Superman for me is not my favorite. He's just like basically the trump card for the Justice League. When things just go bad, Superman just absorbs enough solar energy and just beats everybody and kills them. For me, that just ruins it character wise. That's why I don't find him relatable. Um, they did a good job with the old Superman movies were not that great in my opinion. I'm sorry, I just wasn't a huge fan of it. Smallville, decent. Certain parts weren't all that great, but it was a completely different Superman. But this particular one was phenomenal in my opinion. Excellent story, excellent villains, um, and just it, it it made Superman vulnerable. They didn't make him seem godly because he was up against other Kryptonians. So I think because of that, it was it was just so well done, and definitely the best Superman movie in my opinion, hands down, and was just excellently casted, excellently acted. The storyline was great. It was a little sad to see him have to kill General Zod, but oh, excellent start. They failed in the sequel for Batman vs Superman, but and the Justice League, but that particular movie, excellent. Enjoyed it. We'll watch it again multiple times. I definitely enjoyed The Man of Steel. So number 4 on this list. This one hurt me when I saw it. Logan. Oh, Logan. Hugh Jackman's last stand as Wolverine. It was the. It's not even that. I can't even lie and say that. It was definitely the best rated R superhero movie that wasn't a comedy. It was perfect. Patrick Stewart, um, Hugh Jackman, phenomenal casting. They got to reprise their roles and also retire their roles. Spoiler alert. It was just so heartfelt. Like, it was just sad seeing Wolverine old, having trouble getting his claws up. I mean, that's depressing. I mean, apparently that comes with old age, but still, just sad. Um, we see Professor X going through signs of dementia, which is just horrible, but story wise, phenomenal. They did it and executed it in such a way that it was beautifully done. We had we had a weapon. We had X-23, phenomenal. We had X-24, who was played by Hugh Jackman, phenomenal job. Killed Professor X, hurt me in the feels. And then Wolverine giving up his life to save X-23 and the other mutants. Cloned mutants, by the way. Beautiful, heart-wrenching story. I enjoyed it from the moment it started to the moment it ended, and I will not lie, I cried. I think it was the first time I cried in a superhero movie. It's depressing, but excellent movie. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I know what you're thinking. Well, if that's number three, I mean, if that's number four, what the heck are the next three? These three are, in my opinion, the best three movies, hands down. Three completely different areas, but in their own right, phenomenal movies. So we're going with the bronze medal first, and it is Deadpool. Deadpool, phenomenal movie. Ryan Reynolds took forever to get it out there. Not his fault. Fox was not a big fan of it. Didn't think it was going to make that much money, and turns out to be the best rated R movie at the time. Because I don't know if it still is, but definitely at the time it was the best rated R movie ever. Like I said, at the time, phenomenal. It was so meta, so different from everything in the genre than we've ever seen. It hit home right away. Everything was perfect. The costume, amazing. Casting was awesome. You had Colossus, who was excellent. You had um, Megasonic Nuclear Warhead, whatever you want to call it. We had Angel Dust. We had Ajax. Like the spray. I still laugh every time. His roommate, the blind woman, hilarious. His best friend, Weasel, phenomenal. Everything was done beautifully, executed amazing, was a phenomenal comedy. They did an excellent job, and I'm not normally a big fan of the in the present and going in the past, then going back to the present, then going back to the past. But because it was so comic book based, it was done excellently, and I definitely enjoyed it. And the Zimbabwe? No, Zambu- Zamboni, the Zamboni death. Ah, excellent, one of the best. Now, number two on this list is a sequel, um, and it is it's a really good one. Spider-Man 2 with Toby Mcguire. My personal favorite. It was definitely the best Spider-Man out of the trilogy. It topped the original, in my opinion, because we got to see the dynamic of Spider-Man losing his powers, getting them back. We also got to see Doctor Octopus in such a way that it was done amazingly, and we got to see. And granted, it was a long movie, but we got to see story arcs that were just beautifully done. Peter Parker going from hero to being a normal human to going back to being a hero because he realized that's what needs to be done. Then you have Doc Ock, who starts off as trying to help mankind, who then goes on a destructive rampage, who then realizes he was in the wrong and sacrificed himself to protect New York. It was just wonderfully done. Again, amazingly casted. Um, I mean, Harry Osborn, excellent. Peter Parker, excellent. Mary Jane, excellent. I mean, everyone. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson, the greatest casting ever. Um, beautifully, beautifully done. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Beastly Eel, you've talked so greatly about Spider-Man 2. What could possibly be above that? Well, there's one, and it is from the DC Universe and another sequel. Sometimes sequels can be better than the original. It is rare, but it can happen. And this one is a Batman movie called The Dark Knight. Dark Knight was by far my favorite movie, superhero movie, hands down. Um, Spider-Man 2 and Deadpool, the original, the first one, were definitely all right around the same area. Um, but The Dark Knight just went over just a little bit. And it's because it had my favorite villain in it, Joker. And it was done in such a way that made the Joker human enough to be on screen, but dark enough to really show the Joker. Beautifully done. Christian Bale as Batman was excellent. Heath Ledger as the Joker. And to be honest with you, I, like most people, didn't think it was a good casting in the beginning because he had not done anything like that. But I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And when I saw it, was pleased. It was sad that he died, but oh my gosh, an excellent movie. Just wonderful. I enjoyed it, and I've watched it so many more times. It is ridiculous. Um, so, what do you think? Do you agree with me on my list? Do you think something else should have been the top one? Did I miss something on this list that you think should have been on there? Let me know in the comments. I'd be glad to hear it. Um, as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, I mean, we're almost done. Once I get to Saturday, we are done with this 30-day challenge. So I want to thank everybody so far, but I'll thank you guys on the last day of the 30-day challenge. But again, I appreciate it. As always, this is Beasley Hill signing out. Have a good night.